What if the very essence of who we are, stripped bare of societal gaze and consequence, revealed a truth more profound than we dare to imagine? This ancient question, echoing through philosophy, psychology, and theology, probes the deepest chambers of human nature. Are we inherently good, inherently evil, or merely reflections of the worlds we inhabit? For millennia, thinkers have grappled with the fundamental question of humanity's core. Is our default setting one of benevolence and cooperation, or are we perpetually teetering on the brink of self-interest and aggression? This isn't merely an academic exercise. The answer profoundly shapes our laws, our educational systems, our understanding of justice, and even our personal relationships. It forces us to confront the very foundations of morality and societal structure. The debate transcends simple binaries, inviting us into a complex tapestry woven from innate predispositions, environmental influences, and the mysterious alchemy of individual choice. To truly understand ourselves, we must journey through these competing perspectives, allowing them to challenge our assumptions and ignite our own reflections. What does it mean to be human, if not to wrestle with this very paradox? Imagine a world where compassion is our first language and empathy our natural instinct. This vision forms the bedrock of arguments for humanity's innate goodness, suggesting a pristine state corrupted only by external forces. It's a hopeful, perhaps even utopian, perspective that posits a fundamental decency within us all. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, the influential Enlightenment philosopher, championed the idea that humans are born inherently good. He posited a noble savage living in a state of nature, guided by natural pity and self-preservation, uncorrupted by the artificiality and inequalities of society. For Rousseau, it is the advent of private property, social comparison, and the pursuit of status that introduces vice and moral decay. Society, with its complex rules and competitive structures, becomes the primary corrupting agent. It fosters vanity, envy, and a departure from our natural, compassionate inclinations. This perspective suggests that true human flourishing lies in stripping away these societal layers, returning to a more authentic, unblemished self. It's a powerful indictment of civilization itself, questioning whether progress truly equates to moral advancement. Beyond philosophical constructs, contemporary developmental psychology and neuroscience offer compelling insights into innate prosociality. Studies with infants reveal a preference for helpful over hindering behaviors, suggesting an early, intuitive grasp of fairness and cooperation. Even before language, babies seem to gravitate towards acts of kindness. This innate moral sense, some argue, is an evolutionary advantage, fostering cooperation essential for survival and group cohesion. Mirror neurons, empathy circuits, and the pleasure derived from altruistic acts hint at a biological predisposition towards connection and mutual aid. Could our very biology be wired for goodness, making compassion not just a virtue but a fundamental aspect of our design? This perspective invites us to consider whether our deepest impulses are in fact benevolent. Conversely, a darker, more cynical view posits that humanity's core is fundamentally flawed, driven by self-interest, aggression, and a relentless pursuit of power. This perspective often highlights the brutal realities of history and the pervasive presence of conflict, suggesting that our capacity for cruelty is not an aberration, but an intrinsic part of our being. It challenges us to confront our own potential for darkness. Thomas Hobbes, another foundational Enlightenment thinker, presented a starkly contrasting vision. He famously argued that in a state of nature, human life would be solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Driven by an insatiable desire for power and a pervasive fear of death, individuals would be locked in a perpetual war of all against all. For Hobbes, self-preservation is the ultimate motivator, leading to a ruthless competition for resources and dominance. Only the imposition of a strong, absolute sovereign, a leviathan, can prevent society from descending into chaos. This view suggests that morality and order are not natural human inclinations, but artificial constructs, imposed from above to curb our inherent savagery. It paints a grim picture of humanity, where peace is merely the temporary absence of conflict maintained by force. Many religious traditions, particularly within Abrahamic faiths, articulate the concept of original sin. This doctrine posits that humanity is born with a flawed or fallen nature, inherited from an ancestral transgression. This inherent imperfection predisposes individuals to sin, selfishness, and a separation from divine goodness. It's not merely about committing bad acts, but about a fundamental spiritual brokenness. This theological perspective suggests that evil is not merely a learned behavior, but an intrinsic part of the human condition, a spiritual malady requiring redemption or purification. It implies that our struggle with temptation and our capacity for malevolence are deeply ingrained, a constant battle against our own fallen inclinations. This view offers a profound, albeit challenging, explanation for the pervasive presence of suffering and injustice in the world. Perhaps the truth lies not in a fixed, innate state, but in the dynamic interplay between our predispositions and the world around us. This perspective emphasizes the profound influence of upbringing, culture, education, and social interactions in shaping who we become. It suggests that human nature is not a predetermined blueprint, but a malleable clay, constantly being molded. John Locke, a contemporary of Hobbes and Rousseau, offered a different foundational metaphor, the tabula rasa, or blank slate. He argued that the human mind is born without innate ideas or moral principles. All knowledge, all morality, all understanding of the world is acquired through sensory experience and reflection. We are, in essence, products of our environment. This view places immense responsibility on education, parenting, and societal structures. If we are born blank, then the quality of our experiences directly determines the content of our character. A child raised in a loving, supportive, and morally upright environment is more likely to develop pro-social behaviors, while one exposed to neglect, violence, or injustice may struggle with empathy and ethical conduct. It suggests that society holds the power to sculpt the moral landscape of its citizens. Social learning theory further elaborates on how our environment shapes us. We learn not just through direct experience, but by observing and imitating the behaviors of others. Role models, both positive and negative, exert a powerful influence on our moral development. A child witnessing acts of kindness is more likely to replicate them, just as exposure to aggression can normalize violent behavior. This theory highlights the pervasive impact of culture, media, and peer groups. The narratives we consume, the values our communities uphold, and the behaviors we see rewarded or punished all contribute to our moral compass. It suggests that our actions are often reflections of the social scripts we internalize, making us both products and perpetuators of our collective environment. The very fabric of society becomes a continuous lesson in what it means to be human. Now, let us engage in a profound thought experiment, one that strips away the layers of societal expectation and consequence. Imagine you possess an invisible cloak, a power that renders you utterly undetectable, beyond the reach of law, judgment, or even observation. No one can see you, hear you, or ever know what you do. How would you behave? This scenario, a modern twist on Plato's Ring of Gyges, offers a chillingly insightful window into our true nature. For some, the absence of external constraints would unleash our darkest impulses. The fear of punishment, the desire for social approval, and the need to maintain a good reputation are powerful deterrents. Without them, would we succumb to pure self-interest? Would we steal, cheat, lie, or even harm simply because we could? The anonymity and lack of accountability could embolden individuals to act on desires they normally suppress, revealing a hidden reservoir of selfishness or aggression. This perspective suggests that much of our good behavior is merely a performance, a strategic adaptation to societal pressures. It implies that deep down, many harbor impulses that are only kept in check by the threat of exposure. The invisible cloak in this view would not reveal our true goodness, but rather the extent of our suppressed malevolence, a testament to Hobbes's grim assessment of human nature. It forces us to question the authenticity of our own virtues, yet others contend that the invisible scenario would reveal not our depravity, but our authentic values and character. If we are truly good, if our morality is internalized rather than externally imposed, we would continue to act ethically, even when no one is watching. Would we still help a stranger in need, even if no praise would follow? Would we refrain from theft, not out of fear, but because it violates our intrinsic sense of fairness? This view posits that genuine virtue is its own reward, driven by an internal compass rather than external validation. It suggests that those who are truly altruistic, compassionate, or just would continue to embody these traits regardless of recognition or consequence. The invisible cloak in this light becomes a crucible, purifying our actions down to their purest motivations. It challenges us to consider whether our moral choices are truly our own, or merely reflections of a watchful world. The truth, as with most profound philosophical questions, likely resides not in a simple dichotomy, but in a complex, dynamic interplay. Human nature is not a static entity, but an unfolding process, shaped by both innate predispositions and the myriad experiences that sculpt our minds and hearts. We are born with certain capacities for empathy and aggression, for cooperation and competition. But the degree to which these capacities manifest is profoundly influenced by our environment. Our brains are remarkably plastic, constantly adapting and rewiring based on our interactions with the world. This neuroplasticity supports the idea that while we may have genetic leanings, our choices and experiences ultimately determine the pathways our lives take. The invisible scenario, therefore, serves as a powerful mirror, reflecting not a fixed essence, but the current state of our internalized moral framework. It highlights the critical importance of cultivating personal responsibility, developing a robust internal compass, and consciously choosing the kind of person we wish to be, regardless of external scrutiny. The question of whether humans are inherently good or evil is not one with a definitive, universally accepted answer. It is a perpetual dialogue, a philosophical journey that each individual must undertake. It forces us to look inward, to examine our own motivations, and to consider the forces that shape our actions and the actions of others. What does the invisible scenario reveal about your true nature? Do you believe humanity is fundamentally benevolent, corrupted by society, or inherently flawed, requiring external control? Share your thoughts, engage in this vital debate, and let us collectively explore the profound depths of what it means to be human. Your perspective is a crucial piece of this timeless puzzle.